And welcome to Crossover Event. We are back again. You see Danny Danger is here. I'm Chris Cox. And joining us for the first time is our friend from the podcast Trash in the Can, Wright Sulek.
Hello, everyone. Hello. It's great to be here. I've heard nothing but terrible things. It's awesome.
And they're all true.
They're all true.
Worse.
They're all true.
But not the terrible things you've heard. Other, darker, terrible things. Anyway, we're here this week to talk about the summer movie preview. There's a lot of summer movies coming out, and I know Danny's annoyed at me for this, but I was like, we're not talking about any of the Marvel films because we've already talked about all the Marvel films at length coming out.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, sorry, that's how it is. You're gonna have to pick other things.
Doctor Strange 2.
You messed up, right?
Thor.
Yeah, no, we've talked about those at length, and yes, we're super excited for those films. I hate to tell you, but yeah, this is going to be a Marvel-free show. Sorry, but we each picked a couple of the films that are coming out this year. We think possibly sound really exciting that are coming out to discuss. And I feel like, well, let me say before we do that, we're going to follow up at the end of the show with some of the questions and comments that you've given on our YouTube page and respond to them in kind. And don't worry, we'll be nice. I mean, maybe. I haven't seen the comments yet. We'll see.
Are all the comments about me?
Comments are really nice.
Make sure
Our commenters are really nice people, actually.
We love you.
Top tier complimenters, gotta say.
Keep commenting because we might read your name and your comment on the air on the show. And then you'll kind of like famous, right? You're pretty much a celebrity at that point.
Pretty much.
And you can
we
use
only talk about famous people here.
If I say your name, that means you know you made it.
Wait, who? What? Okay. Who are you again? Anyway, so we're going to start this off by talking about one of my picks, which is the new biopic about Elvis. And yes, I know, I hear you. There have been a lot of biopics about Elvis. Mainly, I would say made for television ones, but still a lot of biopics about Elvis out there. What sets this one apart? Well, it's done by Baz Luhrmann, and I love Baz Luhrmann so much. I mean, except for Australia, that sucked. But all the rest of his films, really huge fan of them. And the idea of him turning the story of Elvis into sort of his style of jukebox musical, if you will, with his songs, and making it big and huge and lush and romantic and explosive and just, not real, but bigger than real, the way that Baz Luhrmann does, is really kind of so Elvis, I can't believe it. And I'm not even an Elvis guy. I'm like, yeah, Elvis is fine. I'm more of a Beatles guy. But Luhrmann doing it, that's exciting. And I love that he picked up somewhat unknown to play the role of Elvis. An actor named Austin Butler, who has been in a bunch of shows, but most people I think know him best as playing Tex, one of the Manson family, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino film. But the real thing that I'm excited about here is Tom Hanks playing the Colonel, Elvis's manager. And he's doing it in, if you see the trailer, he's just ridiculous. He's so Baz Luhrmann ridiculous. He's over the top. He's got, I don't know if he gained weight or it's appliances.
Jowls.
But he's got some serious jowls going on for it. It's America's Dad. Come on. Well, I would love to see him play this character who is both likable and hateable at the same time.
I'm kind of torn on this because on the one, I love Baz Luhrmann. I grew up on, Romeo plus Juliet shaped a lot of my very young personality, my soundtrack choices. It was probably one of my first pop culture oases in a podunk town, sort of devoid in a family devoid of cultural influences, if you will.
A whole generation fell in love with Leonardo DiCaprio because of that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I am 100% a Mercutio girl. Always have been.
Okay, fair enough. Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, and I think this was the first, and I was very big on John Leguizamo as well. His Prince of Cats is absolutely Die Hard and amazing, and he's just incredible. And I do love his work. But also this kind of, to me, when I first read the news, sort of felt like a nobody asked for this moment.
Nobody did ask for it.
And I have very mixed feelings about the presentation of Elvis as this larger than life figure, because I think we're getting to a point in history where we can sort of start unpacking some of those things and looking at a lot of the things that Elvis did and being like, that's actually really messed up.
He was a messed up dude.
Really was.
It does kind of insinuate that in the trailer they're going to go a little bit deeper into his darker self and like what was going on with them, and like a little bit of the drug addiction, and I was like, okay,
I mean,
so this is like a good Elvis
He's
biopic.
hyper mythologized already in real life.
Yeah.
But one of the things that tells me this is going to be a little different is the amount of actors and time this film is spending on Elvis's influence and the most importantly the black influence around him and how that got him started, how he continued to pay attention to it and be involved with it, and how that was now by today's standards kind of like, wait, did he steal it? What was the? There's always been a lot of argument with that as far as Elvis and almost every rock and roller from that time goes. But this looks like it is giving a lot of time to that, with a lot of big stars stepping in to play the roles of some of these legendary blues musicians and gospel musicians from back then. So I don't know. If for me, I'm going. I don't know exactly. It's a Baz Luhrmann film. There's no way of predicting exactly what it's going to be, but it looks like it's trying something very different from any other Elvis thing so far. And honestly, I'm just happy with a new Baz Luhrmann music-centered film, period. But let's go to our next choice with Danni Danger.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to take it in a very different, darker direction. I'm so excited for Men. Something I never thought I would say in my life. Or wait, no, I'm absolutely
Men, this
terrified.
is your chance.
I'm absolutely terrified of Men. There we go. That tracks.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
That's probably better. Yeah.
So there's so many things. A24, when they do horror, the first A24 horror that of course I really got into, much like a lot of other people, were going to be like Hereditary and Midsommar. And the thing that I loved about both of those movies is they take this experience of grief and what it is like to be a femme person, to be a woman experiencing grief, and how gaslighting can play into that, how they pulled in a lot of tropes of like witchcraft and pulled folk horror into it. And there's a lot and both of those movies I think really changed the way I interacted with horror, and sort of added another dimension to it, in terms of like my gender. And I think that Men is absolutely going to do the same thing. Like the fact that just in and of itself, it's this moment of like, not all men, but there's one man in this village playing every single role, and it's Rory Kinnear, who just like plays multiple roles in a lot of things, because he did the same thing in Our Flag Means Death, superbly, by the way.
I mean, just twins, but still.
But still, like, I just think it's really funny that they're like, well, he's so talented, just let him play everyone.
Rory Kinnear is such an astonishingly talented actor, and he does not get the credit he deserves. He's been in so many good things, and here watching this trailer of him, at first you're just like, oh, he's just the one guy who's like rented this woman whose husband has died, and she's a writer, and she's gotten away into this quaint English place to get over it. You're like, okay, he's the guy, the caretaker, whatever. But as it goes on, you're like, oh, wait, is he also the priest? Wait, there's a scene where there's like a teenage kid and they've CG put his face on him.
Bolt together, I'll find you.
Yeah, he's like this like dirty punk dude in the bar. He's the bartender.
And it's Alex Garland, who's got a big experience with horror, although his directorial experience has been exclusively with science fiction, with Ex Machina, which I think is brilliant, and Annihilation, which definitely is somewhat of a sci-fi horror. The talking bear creature thing still haunts my dreams.
I watched that clip the other day, actually. I was like, Jesus Christ.
So much. But yeah, I'm excited for this too. I think this is going to be great. Garland, to me, as a director, is 2 for 2 so far, although Devs was just okay, his Hulu television series.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I do love the idea, because this was made during the pandemic, and this is like just a perfect representation of what you can do with like very limited resources.
Yes.
You have only 2 actors in the whole thing, seemingly, and then mainly. And then having one person playing this villain, and like it's also talking about what I'm assuming the film is going to talk about, this dreading and this leering threat of men, and how like they're haunting her life, and I love the idea, and it looks so scary.
The imagery with like the falling apples. There's there's a lot of like creepy, modern, Judeo-Christian sexism that I think is going to play into this, and it's going to scare the crap out of me. And I do not need anybody who is male representing sitting near me in the theater while I watch this. I'm sorry.
So we're not.
You need to sit elsewhere. I might just start throwing hands.
Okay, we don't want that.
It's gonna get scary.
You can sit in the back. We'll be up in the aisle seats, as it were. And what about you, right?
I got nothing. No.
Why are you?
I'm not excited about anything.
Sorry. No, I'm really excited about the new Jordan Peele movie. His third directorial effort, Nope, which we don't really know a whole lot about Nope at all. But I think from the trailer and what we've seen a little bit about and read about it, it seems like it's going to be aliens, I think. But I love that he's getting back together with Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out, and then Stephen Yeun and Keke Palmer, which I've seen her in a couple things in the past. What else is she in? I don't remember exactly.
When did you ask me this when we were taking a break to look up stuff?
I don't want to look up stuff.
She's in stuff.
She's in stuff, and I like her a lot. But I love this idea about the Black history in regards to the film industry and how it like plays into that, which he obviously does that quite a bit in every one of his films. And the idea that it's just this looming force over this ranch that's they're the oldest they have like the horse stables for like actual horses in films, and I love just the mystery behind even the trailer, and like they're not releasing anything else about it. And I think also the title is kind of great and funny. Like it's no one wants to deal with this, and it's like, yeah, if you're in this situation, like any other horror movie, like nope, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this.
I would say along with A24, Jordan Peele is almost primarily responsible for the resurgence of horror today. And the fact that it's come as like very horror films that become event films, and we go into knowing, well, they made an attempt to really elevate this and make it intelligent and try something really different. And his previous two films, Up and Get Out, are both kind of masterpieces in horror for my money.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would also say that, like, and one of the things I think that this has in common with Men and some of the other things that A24 are doing as well is that we're framing horror from the perspective of someone who is not usually catered to in horror, right? Like horror for so many years was about the fears of straight white men, and now we're telling stories about what concepts are terrifying to people of color, to Black people, to women, to trans people. Like this is the next stage of horror.
And the idea that like if it is about aliens and abducting, like that, there's a lot of fear around that for the Black community.
Is there? So, is that a thing?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of history around it, of course.
One of the most famous abducted people ever, one of the first people to report an abduction, one of them was Black. Just saying, it was an interracial couple back in the day who came in and said, "Oh, we were abducted." They're like, "What's abducted?" They had to explain it. Anyway, we could say that white people stole abductions from Black people in the first place. So we're getting back to the core
taken
root
from
here.
their home and
a lot of those fears that popped up during the times of the Cold War, right?
Yeah,
were reflective of the fact that white people for the first time were afraid of being invaded, which is something that we've been doing historically to everyone. So there is that context does belong there when we're looking at old horror that is framed that way, and new horror that's removing that layer of white fragility and readdressing it in a way of these are people who historically actually have a reason to be afraid of these things, and here's conceptually what that looks like when we turn it into a metaphor to tell a story about what scares the shit out of us.
And knowing Jordan Peele, that's exactly what he's going to do. Or maybe it's not exactly what he's going to do, but we know he's going to do something really interesting and deep and make us go, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
Spoilers!
And what I still love about him is that he's the general audience, his stuff is so palatable. Like, it's so easy to still take in, even though it's addressing really intense stuff. Yeah. I love that about
I wouldn't say it's easy to take in. I'm a very highly sensory person. Right. And that and A24 can get real uncomfortable real quick. I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God.
So for my next one is one that I didn't even know about until I was like going, we should do a summer movie thing. I was looking up, what's Bullet Train? I'll look it up. Oh, wait, it's a new film by David Leitch, who's done a lot of movies I really like Atomic Blonde and John Wick and Deadpool 2. He is a director who is very good at filming action movies. No question, himself an ex-action stuntman, originally a stunt double for Keanu Reeves, which is how John Wick, in fact, happened at all. Them going, "Hey, Keanu, we got this script." Okay, I'll do it, but only if you direct it, because Keanu is the world's greatest human being, as we all know. He is. I don't know why they don't just make him the Dalai Lama at this point. Come on.
Oh, I thought he was.
Well, they're waiting.
That's going to be the next biopic.
Yeah. Anyway, this new film, Bullet Train, is a very David Leitch concept, which is that Brad Pitt plays a train killer who's trying to retire called Ladybug, only his handler, voiced by Sandra Bullock, unfortunately was originally supposed to be Lady Gaga, and she wasn't able to do it, which I'm like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would have been great. But I mean, I love Sandra Bullock. That's fine. But it's like, come on, one last job. It's not even a hard one. You literally just have to go on the Japanese bullet train and pick up a briefcase and then just deliver it. And that's it. You shouldn't have to do anything.
That's what they all say.
The problem is he gets on the train and it's filled with other professional assassins who are also there for the briefcase. So on the length of this bullet train ride, he's going to take on all these assassins and he's got one of those, clerks, I wasn't even supposed to be here today type attitudes about it. And you've got so many great people in this movie. I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who was the lead in the HBO series Warrior, who is fantastic. You got Brian Tyree Henry, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Just this whole, I mean, when you just have to look it up. There's a whole list of actors that you're like, oh my God, everyone on here is like really, really cool. Joey King is sort of like a teenage assassin who's there. And it's very bigger than life, crazy big fights, crazy comedy. And I'm like, okay, this is now officially on my most anticipated list for this summer.
I'm sorry.
What?
No, I know.
What?
I joked about it before, and I don't know. I'm not really that thrilled, to be quite honest, to see the movie because it just I'm excited because of the action.
Well,
part.
right. Glad you could be here and join us
Okay,
this
look,
week.
like I have some opinions here, but it does. Like I was joking before, it seems like the guy watched Smoking Aces and wanted to do this movie on a train.
Nobody ever watched Smoking Aces and
I
said
watched it
I was
way too many
inspired
times.
to do anything but not make Smoking Aces.
I do think it falls into a genre of like a particular kind of action movie that's kind of like burst out of the head of Snatch years ago.
Yeah.
You
Big
know?
ensemble action movie.
I mean, it's based
Yeah.
on a pre-existing Japanese manga that was quite popular,
Yeah.
apparently.
But I do love the bottleneck aspect
Yes.
of them being on the train and like the bright colors and the stylization and like I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who plays Oluwande from Our Flag Means Death is just always going to bring me joy when I see him on screen now. Like,
Was that him in this?
yeah, I think so.
I was unclear if that was him. I thought that was Bad Bunny, who I know is also in this film somewhere. So, Danny, I believe you had another pick.
I did, yeah. While we're talking about these really heavy-hitting, emotional drama scripts, I think I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the Bob's Burgers movie.
Oh, I see.
So, okay.
Oh,
Just,
no? Okay.
I've seen 2 episodes of Bob's Burgers. I love H. John Benjamin to death, but and they were the first 2 episodes, and I realized I should probably go back and give another chance. But I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize it's about to do its 13th season.
I adore Bob's Burgers. I love everybody who's on the team. Nobody asked, but I'll tell you anyway. I'm a Gene.
I don't know what that means.
I'm absolutely a Gene. I have no control over the volume of my voice or my enthusiasm, and I totally laugh at fart jokes. I will make all the fart noises. Yeah, absolutely.
That tracks.
But I do love snakes. I actually used to work with a whole bar staff, and that was like our thing. We were the Bob's Burgers crew. Everybody on the team had.
Oh, do you have a Louise?
We did. Oh, we absolutely had a
bet you
Louise.
did.
You all had snakes and farted a lot?
No. I mean, probably also, yeah. Well, one of those 2 things.
Yeah, I mean, you're more crop dusting when you're behind a bar, but still, yeah.
I'll say that for waiting tables on really shitty tables, but that's a different story. We're not going to get into that. My dark and seedy past.
But what are they doing in this to make it movie as opposed to just another episode?
I know that like there's definitely going to be like when you watch the trailer, it definitely has that feel of like, from transitioning from TV animation to movie animation.
Yeah.
And they're telling the story of like Bob is down to the wire. Like the whole show takes place that Bob and Linda being like an inch away from losing the restaurant. And this time it looks like that's actually going to be the case. They're going to have like 7 days to pay a bill or something to come up with X amount of money to keep their restaurant afloat. It also looks like there will be a giant hole out in front of the restaurant because of something natural always happens to prevent them from making money.
Technically, it's a well, because if they have 7 days, that means that's where Samara comes out at the end of the 7 days.
So it's going to be a horror Bob's Burgers.
I would watch that.
That would be pretty fun.
But yeah, I'm really excited. Also because like it feels like there's the last few seasons have been the Bob's Burgers crew all kind of working on different projects, and you can kind of feel it in the script a little bit that they're sort of petering to the end. And the movie I think is going to wrap up the series, and that feels like good closure to me. That feels awesome. I look forward to seeing it at the Alamo Drafthouse, where they will no doubt have some sort of amazing pun burger.
A Bob burger.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No question.
I have the Bob's Burgers cookbook, and all of the burgers in it are really good. Just in
you
case
need to let
you
me
were
borrow that,
wondering.
please.
Yeah,
I would
it's so
love
good.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it like that series, it feels like the first like 10 seasons of The Simpsons, and now like if that's true, they're gonna end it. It's like that's a great send off. Don't go 30 years.
As far as I know, they've got another season planned after the movie.
Do they?
Yeah, I think so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally fine with that. But I'm excited for the movie because they've been talking about it forever.
And right, you have one more, and let's talk about that.
I do. It's highly anticipated. It's been slated for years now, and I'm really glad. It feels like it, and I'm so glad they're finally like releasing it. Avatar 2.
Wait, what? No.
Oh no,
That's not.
That's not coming out this summer.
No, I don't believe so.
I thought James Cameron said that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it is, it wasn't on the list. So
Son of a... Okay,
Avatar 2 will come out before you die. I don't know about me.
Well, you are
a little
immortal.
older.
Yeah.
Well, you get tired after a while.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and... I know you guys weren't aware of this, so I probably should just let you know, but we here at Screen Fanatic actually have a rule that there are no avatars other than Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's strong words, but okay.
I'm sorry. We should have told you before this started filming.
I didn't know that was a faux pas.
It's part of the onboarding process, but since you came on, just sort of last minute.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
It's allowed, but just so you guys know.
I'm going to put my foot down. You're going to have to talk about Top Gun Maverick instead.
Okay. Look. Top Gun Maverick is coming out this summer, and it's been supposed to come out like a couple years ago now, but it was the pandemic. It didn't, it was released in 2020. But it has everyone back. It has Tom Cruise, and that's it. But
no, I mean, I think everybody's back who's alive, right? Val Kilmer
looks like he's in a picture. I don't know how much he's going to be in the movie because, of course, the cancer. But there's like Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, and Joseph Kosinski, who did Oblivion and Tron Legacy. He's doing it, but I'm glad also Stephen McQuarrie, who's been doing the new Mission Impossible movies, which I love those. I'm glad that he also co-wrote the script as well, and so I'm actually kind of excited about this movie because newer Tom Cruise movies, mainly the Mission Impossible movies, I just unabashedly love it. I love him doing action stuff, running around. I'm like, just you do that. Don't say anything.
I remember
just
seeing
do stuff.
Top Gun when it came out in the theater because I'm of that age, and I remember going, "This isn't a very good movie, but Jesus, the sound is amazing." I remember it just rumbling in your seats and your stomach in a way we'd never experienced before with the actual jet planes that they got from the Navy, because they're like, "We're gonna be really cool about like the Navy and the Air Force in this. Can you like loan us some shit?" And like, "Yeah, sure, will." Yeah, which actually happened again on this film. They're using stuff loaned by the military because they're like, "This is gonna be kind of a you guys are cool movie." Because of course it is. I mean, did anyone other than Tom Cruise really go, we should have another Top Gun film? Probably not.
I don't think even he really wanted to do it in the end. Everyone's like, here's a dump truck full of money. Yeah. And also, everyone loves Top Gun, right? Like, no, not really.
Not really. I mean, it's been reinvented now as a gay action film to a lot of people. Like the Alamo.
Well, now I have to see it. I was just about to confess I've never seen it.
And
I was like, well,
here's the deal.
They show it at the Alamo with like commentators that are like they're like gay commentators who are like, this is why it's a great gay movie because these characters are definitely in love with each other.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well, I know what I'm watching tonight.
That's very funny and very cool. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. And Tom Cruise has never been a shit about it. He's like, that's cool. However you want to watch it, that's fine. But I don't know. I mean, like, I'm gonna see this, but come on, I'm excited about it. I'm more excited to see if it like is a spectacular train wreck, which I kind of hope it is.
I kind of hope it is too. Yeah. And then again, I don't know why I'm then talking about this, but like I do like some of the set pieces, but I'm still always confused because when I saw Top Gun really late in life. And it was only out of pressure and spite that I had to watch it because my coworkers made me watch it at work. They just had it plastered on the TV.
I should have told you it was a gay action movie.
Yeah,
well, but they were like, no, it's an awesome, just manly man movie. It's like, you don't know anything about this movie, do you? Like, I knew more about the movie and I'd never seen it before. And then we're doing this whole Culture Day thing at work, and out of spite, we did a whole Tom Cruise like specific thing just to piss them off because they were doing a Top Gun thing. It's like, the hell with you people.
I don't know what's going on with Tom Cruise right now. He's on a TikTok tear. I don't know if you've noticed
What?
this. He's been appearing on all these other people's TikToks and doing this thing where he comes in and does something wacky and wild and then runs off. And
I think that's a deep fake.
No, that's him for sure. Like, I've watched several of them. Like, there's no way that's
With like
not Tom Cruise. Maybe it is. I don't know, but it sounds just like him, looks just like him. If it's a deep fake, it's a good one, and it's not insulting towards Tom Cruise.
No.
I mean, he jumps on a couch. I don't know if he jumps on a couch. Maybe. He jumps
Well, look, the thing is with Top Gun Maverick, it feels like the same story, but he's teaching young kids how to fly planes in the Navy, which I still don't understand. But
Navy has planes.
I guess so. I don't know.
They're not as cool as the Air
planes
Force.
on the boat.
Yeah,
guess
on the
so.
boat. That's they got
I
a
have
plane
no
for the boat.
idea. I don't know why they're just not like right.
Okay, well.
But Miles Teller plays Goose's son,
Right.
Anthony Edwards, who I don't know if you know this, and this could be kind of shocking for you, but someone does die in the first movie, and it doesn't really.
Is it a dog?
No, it's not a dog.
Then I
Not
don't
at all.
care.
Yeah.
It's a type of bird, though.
Then I'm. Wait.
Spoiler. So we promised we were going to do comments. We were going to read off some of your comments, and this week is the week we're doing it. I wasn't on last week's show, which is why I'm going to hand it over to Danny. They are going to answer your questions that you have or your responses to that show. So take it away.
We got some wonderful comments. A lot of people. So last week's episode was about us talking about how we got into comics. And a lot of people came to the comments to tell us how they got into comics. I talked a lot about Wonder Woman and Masiek Kerr, whose name I probably just destroyed. I'm sorry. Love you.
Machek for the
Machek. Thank you. Okay, see?
Love you, Machek.
You were helpful. We're glad that you're here. So Machik says that the greatest Wonder Woman is hands down the new DC animated superhero girls show. And I have to say that I sold a lot of the books. And when I worked at the comic book shop, and I'm really excited to see the cartoon because I love a lot of animated Wonder Woman stuff.
Yeah,
me too.
So is she amazing? Have you guys
Both
seen?
the DC animated films they put out for her were some of the better of the DC animated film direct-to-video.
The first one is
releases.
what got me into comics.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And she's so great on Justice League. Oh my god.
Yeah, always. MX Xavier 17 said that their first intro into comics was Ultimate Spider-Man, which is an awesome first comic to have. Like that's some street cred right there, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know there was an Ultimate. I just knew there was an Amazing.
It's where Miles Morales
Yeah.
came from, was introduced in that. It's funny. I know people who hate the writer of that. By
Bendis?
Michael Bendis, who hate everything by him
Oh,
except for Ultimate Spider-Man. They're all like, yeah, okay, well, keep Ultimate Spider-Man. That one is really amazing. And
Yeah.
it is, yeah. It's
I
fantastic.
like Michael Bendis.
I
Yeah,
do too.
I like Bendis.
People are weird about that, but people get very obsessive with their Bendis hatred.
Yeah, they're the same way with Dan Slott. Like I feel
Yeah.
like you can't write a long run on on Spider-Man without a bunch of people just deciding to hate you.
But everybody
on Twitter.
loves Ultimate, though. Come on. It's
But
the
Ultimate
best.
is amazing, and that is such a good first comic. I would brag about that. I would put that on a dating profile, Xavier. So you're welcome for that free romantic advice. Where's Nerd Love when we need him?
Sorry, this is you guys could afford right now. It's just me.
Both the ladies and
You're just
men
right.
get turned on when you talk about Ultimate Spider-Man.
Hey, Serenity Autumn actually weighed in on the issue of classic comics and whether or not whether or not it's a religious blasphemy to unwrap them or take toys out of the box. We talked a lot about like collecting and how some people don't want to take things out of the box and enjoy them. And they said that their husband is a record collector, and one of the things about collecting records that they really dig is that their husband actually listens to them, so they get to enjoy the media that they're collecting. And I think that comic book readers and toy collectors could probably learn a little bit from record collectors in the idea of like you've got monetary value versus quality of life value, and you have to kind of balance those things out. And I am here for it. And Serenity, I think your husband's got the right idea.
And also keeping in mind that 99% of the stuff you're collecting for value will never be worth what you hope it will.
Yeah.
No. But I do think that's like kind of to each their own. If they do want to just keep them in the boxes, then the hell with it. Be that person. But
He's not that person. I've seen him.
no, I bust out my toys and I collect a lot of records and I listen to those bad boys.
Yeah,
So
I play with all my toys all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have to have something to fidget with, so I got like Legos and I got a Xenomorph right next to me. So but I do understand why you'd want to keep it in the boxes. Yeah, I want to bring them out. Yes.
Well, thank you. Please leave us your own thoughts about what summer movies you're excited for that are coming up. And yes, you can talk about the Marvel stuff if you want to. But anyway, next week, no, you weren't here for the shows we talked about those. I'm sure we'll talk about them more in the future. Don't worry. And that is going to be it for this week's show, except for the bonus video, which you can tune in, which we'll talk very briefly about some more of the other summer movies coming out.
All the Marvel ones.
Mother, what? This is so not fair. I will say thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, Wright Sulek.
Thank you for being here.
You can check him out at oneofus.net, where he has his own show. I got nothing to do with it, although I did guest star in a few.
You have been on it a couple times, and
Trash in the Can, where they literally review the world's worst movies. And to his credit, he discovers stuff I have never heard of that are deeply entertaining movies to
deeply
watch.
upsetting movies as well.
Sometimes deeply upsetting.
Yes, yes.
And then Danny.
Yeah, you can find me here at the channel that is called Screen Fanatic, which I totally remembered the name of.
We'll be back next week.
We're all wording real good.
We are great with the words
I quit.
and the sentences.